Welcome back, Gothamites. If you're new here, hi. I'm London, aka History of the Batman. The most well-known Batman is Bruce Wayne, who has donned the cape and the cowl across all visual media. However, in Batman's entire 80-year history, there have been over a dozen characters besides Bruce Wayne who have been the Dark Knight, whether in mainstream continuity or in alternate universes. For this video, I will be highlighting these characters, why they became Batman in their respective universes, and what makes their Batman different or similar to Bruce Wayne's Caped Crusader. But before we see many different Batmen, why don't you subscribe to this channel and become part of this wonderful Gothamite community. It would be fitting to start with probably one of the most well-known characters besides Bruce Wayne that has been Batman on different occasions, and that is Dick Grayson. Debuting in 1940, Dick Grayson was the first Robin to Bruce Wayne's Batman, and in the early 1980s he took up the modern persona of Nightwing. However, Dick Grayson has taken Bruce Wayne's place on different occasions within his own history. Although Bruce Wayne does take the Batman mantle back after the arc Batman Knight's End, which is a part of the huge arc Batman Nightfall, Bruce isn't ready to don the cape and the cowl again just yet until he's mentally prepared to return to his roots as the Gothic Dark Knight. Bruce asks Grayson to be the Batman for a very short period of time in the arc Batman Prodigal, which is a crossover series written by Chuck Dixon, Alan Grant, and Doug Moench. However, the longest stretch that Grayson has had being the Batman after Bruce Wayne is of course after Bruce's apparent death in Grant Morrison's Final Crisis at the hands of Darkseid. And after a literal battle for the cowl, Dick Grayson becomes the new Batman and is for several years up until 2011's The New 52 reboot. The most noticeable difference between Dick's Batman and Bruce's Batman is that Grayson doesn't want to have the same grim outlook on life and on justice that Bruce Wayne does, and actually wants to have personal relationships within his life while being the Dark Knight. And it is easy to see that it's much harder for Bruce to make these connections. And I think that sense of hope that Grayson has, no matter what persona he's been in the past, is actually a good balancing quality to have when you're the Batman. Our next Batman is Jason Todd. Jerry Conway and Don Newton's creation debuted in 1983, and Jason Todd became the second Robin the Boy Wonder after Dick Grayson, and was Robin throughout the 1980s until his tragic death by the hands of the Joker. And in the mid-2000s, Jason actually returned into continuity and was revived as the new Red Hood. Todd took up the mantle of Batman after Bruce's death on Earth 15 and became the leader of the Justice League, which is all within the 2007 book Countdown, and all began in Countdown issue number 30. But in regular continuity, after Bruce's death in Final Crisis, which we just mentioned, Tony S. Daniels' arc Batman Battle for the Cowl focuses on the aftermath of this death and how to establish the new status quo of the Bat family. In this arc, Jason Todd takes it upon himself to create a whole new bat suit and says he's the new Batman, especially in fighting Black Mask and his henchmen. Todd eventually fights everyone within the Batman family, and Grayson ends up being victorious and actually does become the new Batman. Not so different from his Red Hood persona, Jason Todd's Batman wields guns and is very lethal, which is an appeasing quality that a lot of Jason Todd fans have, which I think is interesting because a lot of the same fans that like Red Hood don't like Bruce to either use a gun or to kill, but it's fine. I've had this discussion before with people and it's fine. But anyway, even in Battle for the Cowl, you can tell that Jason Todd as Batman probably isn't the best idea. I like him more as Red Hood anyway. Our next Batman is Tim Drake. Marv Wolfman and Pat Broderick's character debuted in 1989, and Tim Drake became the third Robin the Boy Wonder to Bruce's Batman. Then, after Bruce's death, the status quo changed and Tim Drake took up the persona of Red Robin. In the 2004-2005 arc Titans of Tomorrow, which was by Jeff Johns and Mike McCone, Tim Drake's Robin and the rest of the Teen Titans travel to a possible future, and Tim Drake learns that he becomes the Batman after Bruce Wayne's death. However, this possible future becomes very troubling for the present Tim Drake because his Batman is a very, 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 very lethal Batman and has killed almost all of the members of Batman's rogues gallery, which he never thought he would do because Bruce, who was his mentor, has always taught him that he doesn't have to kill any of his enemies in order to get justice. And once the Titans return to the present, Drake and all the rest of the team members kind of reflect on what their future selves are and if they want to either change that or keep it the same. Which Tim Drake definitely wants to change it. Tim Drake also appears in other stories as Batman. However, if you want to see him as the Dark Knight in full force, I do recommend John's Titans of Tomorrow. Our next Batman is Damian Wayne. Grant Morrison and Andy Kubert's modern revamped character debuted in 2006 and is the biological son of Bruce Wayne and Talia al Ghul. After Bruce Wayne's death, which I've mentioned a lot already, so Bruce Wayne dying is real important to this apparently. But anyway, Damian becomes the next Robin and is currently the Robin to Bruce Wayne's Batman in the comic. One of the most notable times that Damian has actually become Batman is in Grant Morrison's story Batman in Bethlehem, which is in Batman issue 666, fittingly, which depicts a future hellish Gotham. And after both Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson pass away, Damian is the one that takes up the mantle as Batman, and after a literal fight with evil and selling his soul to the devil, Damian is able to protect Gotham City as the Dark Knight. Now you have to admit that Gotham City is so bad, it took Batman to sell his soul to Satan in order to assure that he could protect it. That's how bad Gotham is. But Damian has also been seen as Batman in the 2014 4-issue arc Damian, Son of Batman, which was written and illustrated by Andy Kubert. And in the Multiversity issue number 3, where Damian is the Batman of Earth 16. As Batman, Damian is of course ruthless, but that doesn't stray far from his character considering he was raised by his grandfather, Ra's al Ghul, who is the leader of the League of Assassins. So he has always been trained to be ruthless and kill his enemies. And throughout Damian Wayne's journey becoming Batman, Bruce, as his father and as Batman, tries to teach and train Damian that as Robin, he doesn't need to kill like he's been taught all his life. So it's pretty difficult, but these lessons do make Damian a better hero in the end. Our next Batman is John Paul Valley. Denny O'Neil and Joe Quesada's character debuted in 1992 as Azrael, who is a descendant of the Ancient Order of Saint Dumas, which is a sector in the Knights Templar. After meeting Bruce Wayne's Batman when they both investigate the death of John Paul Valley's father, Bruce invites John Paul Valley to become a part of the Batman family. And once Bruce's back is broken by the villain Bane in Batman Nightfall, Bruce calls upon John Paul Valley to take up the mantle as Batman while he heals. Of course, now Azrael Batman, as many have coined him, is seen as a lethally aggressive Batman, and not only disrupted the relationship between him and Tim Drake, aka Robin at the time, but also his relationship with Commissioner Gordon, who can tell a huge difference between Bruce Wayne's Batman and John Paul Valley's Batman, even if he doesn't know the identity of Batman. Bruce even has to fight John Paul Valley to get the mantle back as Batman because John Paul Valley's like, nope, I'm Batman now, it's mine. And you even kind of see a deterioration of his mind while he is Batman. So maybe being Batman isn't the best for this particular character. Him being Azrael is a better fit. But despite his extreme methods, Azrael Batman is still a fan favorite, but I really think it's because of the design, because he created a weaponized bat suit and it's just really, really cool. Especially in 1993, 1994, it's pretty fun. Our next Batman is Commissioner James Gordon. Debuting in the same issue as Bruce Wayne and Batman, 1939's Detective Comics 27, James Gordon is known within the DC Comics universe as being the commissioner of the Gotham City Police Department. And although his methods are questioned by the GCPD constantly, Gordon is a close ally to the Batman and the Batman family, with his daughter Barbara Gordon being the most well-known Batgirl. You know, we're celebrating Batman 80 and his 80th anniversary, but you gotta remember, Commissioner Gordon is turning 80 this year as well. Why isn't anyone talking about that? Like, why isn't there hashtag Gordon 80? I don't understand. Maybe I'll do a video just celebrating Gordon because he's a very important important part of Batman's mythology. He's been around as long as he has. He should be celebrated as well. I don't know, we'll see. After the apparent death of both Bruce Wayne and the Joker in the arc Batman Endgame, James Gordon is asked by Powers International to try out very experimental tech that would create a Batman task force. Complying to be part of this experiment, James Gordon is then given a bat suit and a robotic bat suit, which he calls Rookie, which Rookie can fly and has superhuman strength and all that kind of stuff. It's a pretty sick robot, basically. And Gordon also has a really cool yellow and black bat suit that can actually turn invisible. But anyway, Gordon uses all of these resources to become Batman and protect Gotham City in Bruce Wayne Batman's absence, and this is all within the arc Batman Super Heavy. But at the end of this arc, Bruce Wayne, who didn't die at the end of Endgame, but did lose his memory and suffered from really bad amnesia, eventually regains his memory back, remembers that he is Batman, and him and James Gordon's Batman both team up and fight the villain Mr. Bloom. And then after this arc, Bruce Wayne's Batman returns and James Gordon returns as Commissioner. Like Dick Grayson, Commissioner Gordon, when he was Batman, saw a lot of difficulty in filling the shoes of this vigilante and fulfilling whatever that means to Gotham City as a whole. However, him and Rookie were actually a pretty good duo, even if it was for a very short period of time. Since we just talked about Commissioner James Gordon, I wanted to throw in another James Gordon, who was only in the 1990 one-shot graphic novel Batman Digital Justice by Pepe Marino Cesares and Doug Murray, where Commissioner James Gordon's grandson, named James Gordon, not only becomes a detective for the Gotham City Police Department after the death of his grandfather, but also becomes this city's Batman and has to stop the Joker from his plan to contaminate the now high-tech Gotham City with a computer virus. Okay, on to our next Batman, who everyone really enjoys, and that is Thomas Wayne. Debuting in 1939, Dr. Thomas Wayne is the father of Bruce Wayne, who was gunned down with his wife Martha Wayne in front of a young Bruce Wayne's eyes, and the death of both Thomas and Martha became a catalyst for Bruce Wayne to train and eventually become the Batman. One of the most celebrated interpretations of Batman is Thomas Wayne taking up the cape and the cowl in the Flashpoint timeline, and is discussed in Brian Azzarello's 2011 tie-issue series to Flashpoint, which is called Batman Night of Vengeance. So in Jeff Johns' Flashpoint universe, Bruce Wayne was the one that was gunned down in front of his mother and father, and Thomas Wayne from this experience turns into this reality's Batman, and Martha Wayne actually turns into this reality's Joker after going mad with grief. In Flashpoint, Thomas Wayne's Batman helps Barry Allen, aka The Flash, not only regain his speed powers, but also helps Barry to return to his own timeline. Thomas Wayne's Batman is also seen in 2014's Earth 2 series, which is part of the New 52 reboot, where a 65-year-old Thomas takes up the mantle of Batman thanks to the use of the Miraclo pill. Thomas Wayne's Batman, similar to Jason Todd's Batman, is a very lethal vigilante who uses guns all the time. However, just like Jason Todd, he is a huge hit with Batman fans, and many have even requested that they want to see Thomas Wayne's Batman on the live-action big screen and in any other way that you can see Thomas Wayne's Batman. So perhaps we will see that in the near future in some film or TV series. Oh, but if you are interested in Flashpoint, I actually did a 1-minute Bat history that breaks down that very important series in 1 minute. So I will put that in the description below if you're interested. Our next Batman, since we just talked about Thomas Wayne, is Thomas Wayne Jr. Originally debuting in 1964, Thomas Wayne Jr. would become to known as Owlman, who is basically the evil version of Batman on Earth 3, and a founding member of the Crime Syndicate of America who continually fights the Justice League of America. But if you look at Thomas Wayne Jr.'s post-Crisis background, so after Crisis on Infinite Earths rebooted the entire DC universe, so anything after 1985/1986, you have to look at the antimatter universe of Earth 2, where Thomas Wayne Jr. is actually the older brother of Bruce Wayne, and both Bruce and their mom, Martha Wayne, were gunned down by the police after they stopped stopped Thomas Wayne due to his illegal activities within his medical practice. So although this character is an evil version of Batman on different Earths, Owlman has continually been featured in comics and even animated films for decades, and it is seen as a solid counterpart, even if it is evil, of Bruce Wayne's Batman. Our next Batman is Wayne Williams. Now, I have talked about Wayne Williams in depth in different videos on this channel, including my video, What If Stan Lee Created the DC Universe, which I will link in the description below. But Wayne Williams is depicted as the Batman of Earth 6. In Stan Lee and Joe Kubert's 2001 arc, Stan Lee's Just Imagine Batman, who, after being sent to prison for a crime he didn't commit, trains his body and mind with the help of scientist Frederick Grant and a bat that sits on the windowsill. After being pardoned from saving the warden from being attacked by other prisoners, Williams creates a bat suit and not only becomes one of the world's greatest wrestlers, calling himself Batman, but also gets vengeance against the man that put him in prison in the first place, and after this experience wants to continue to protect his city and stays as Batman. Stan Lee's Batman isn't just diverse in ethnicity and backstory, but it's also a very fantastic story. That whole Just Imagine line is so much fun, and it's a refreshing take on these classic characters, so I definitely recommend you checking out. Our next Batman is Bruno Venecow, who has only appeared as Batman in a couple of stories. One in particular is the 1993 one-shot graphic novel Batman Golden Streets of Gotham, which is by Jen Van Meter, Cliff Chang, and Tommy Lee Edwards. And in this story, Bruno is a laborer during the Industrial Revolution whose parents died in an industrial fire that was caused by Joseph Chillingham. I love that name. In order to fight Chillingham and bring him to justice for the murders of his family, Bruno decides to become a Robin Hood-esque Batman and slowly is seen as a hero among fellow workers and laborers. And there are also other characters that have been depicted as Batman, such as Black Mask, who made his own batsuit and decided to just kill people, to other different DC multiverses within the modern era, in particular in the New 52 reboot, that have become the Batman within their own world, and Bruce Wayne isn't exactly part of that narrative, such as Dr. William Tornado, who was on Earth 44, who created his own kind of AI type of Batman. We have a couple of more Batman that have been either villains that were Batman for a very, very short period of time, or other heroes that have been part of Batman either in the future or in other Elseworld stories. But our next Batman is Bane. I've actually talked about Bane being Batman in my video about the craziest alternate versions of Batman. And that one does include different Bruce Wayne's Batman that are just really bonker concepts of the Dark Knight. And I put Bane on that list. So if you are interested in that, then I will put that video in the description as well. But in the arc Forever Evil Arkham games, after Batman isn't technically around and all of the inmates in Blackgate prison have escaped, in order to instill fear within not only the villains but anyone else around, Bane decides that the best way to convey fear is to actually don the cape and the cowl and become Batman for a short period of time. And while it does work, he does take headquarters at Wayne Towers. Bane does realize that just wearing the Batsuit does not make you the Batman, and he ultimately has to step down from the mantle. Although Bane was only Gotham's protector for a few issues in the 2013 series, it's very interesting, and I noted this in the other video as well, that Bane sees that the only way to truly strike fear into the hearts of criminals is to become Batman, who he claims is the person that he despises the most in Gotham. I love Bane, so I love any story that has Bane, but I just think that's interesting that he would actually become the Dark Knight for a few issues. To me, that stuff is cool. Okay, I wanted to add this one because I think this is awesome, only because DC and the creators of this book, Max Allan Collins and Eduardo Barreto, they turned a real life person and pretty much changed their story into a Batman story. And I think that's awesome. And that is Eliot Ness, and he is featured in the 1996 one-shot graphic novel Batman Scars of the Bat. In the story and real life, Eliot Ness is a federal agent that is ordered to take down Al Capone, his whole criminal underground during the Prohibition era. And once Eliot sees that it's a little bit more difficult to apprehend Al Capone than he would have thought being a federal agent, he decides to become the Batman and uses both his legal resources and his somewhat illegal ways as a vigilante. I love when actual history just mixes together like that. It's so awesome. Okay, and the last major character that I did want to highlight that is Batman is, of course, one of the most favorited characters within Batman's whole mythology, and of course that is Terry McGinnis. Originally debuting in the DC animated universe in 1999, Terry McGinnis becomes the new Batman within Neo Gotham. And an older Bruce Wayne trains and becomes his mentor to become an effective Batman within not only this high-tech new world, but also trains him to push forward the legacy of the Batman mantle itself. And of course, Terry McGinnis is part of Batman Beyond, and Batman Beyond was in the DCAU, and then it became canon, which I actually talked about in my 5 Bat Essentials in 5 minutes, all about the character Hush. So if you're interested, I will put that in the description below. That is the theme of this video. And of course, just like Thomas Wayne's Batman, everyone wants to see Terry McGinnis as Batman Beyond in a live action Batman movie, or just give us more animated stuff. That has just always been a fan favorite, and it's turning 20 years old this year. It's already celebrating an anniversary as well. Batman Beyond is just awesome. And I think that is definitely one of the most popular interpretations of Batman that isn't Bruce Wayne. Oh, and also Clark Kent many times has played Batman, or has worn the suit and has fought people, or in Elseworlds, in imaginary stories, he has been Batman. Like, there's several stories. I mean, I could just do a video just about that. I guess that's just a bonus for this, because Superman being Batman, you know he really wants to be Batman, right? They're besties. You know, sometimes he just looks at Bruce and he's like, gee golly, I am jealous that you're Batman. Thank you guys so much for watching this video about other characters that have been Batman besides Bruce Wayne in DC Comics. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a bat thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below who your favorite Batman is. Is it Bruce Wayne? Is it Dick Grayson? Is it any of the people that I have talked about on this list? I want to know. Personally, of course, Bruce Wayne is probably the perfect person, but I have always enjoyed reading Dick Grayson as Batman. I love that run. I love that run in Grant Morrison's Batman and Robin. I mean, I am a fangirl for Dick Grayson, so it's probably a little biased, but I do like the fact that other people have been Batman, whether in regular continuity or alternate universes. I think that just makes the Batman mantle way more diverse and three-dimensional than just having one person being the Caped Crusader. So I love all the stories that I talked about today in this video, and I really do recommend you guys checking it out. They're so much fun. As always, all of my social media, including Instagram at History of the Batman, is in the description below, so why don't you go to follow and become a Gothamite. Check out my videos for DC Comics DC Fans channel, and of course, please subscribe to this channel so you can become a part of this Batman community. It would mean so much to me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will have more History of Batman soon, right here on YouTube. Remember, Gothamites, all about peace, love, and Batman. Bye.